speaking of messaging, Mitt Romney won the delegates. He had a good night, but as you say, he's lost the spin war a little bit. That may have had to do with expectation setting, something we talk a lot about here in Washington. But there do seem to be two races. There's the kind of enthusiasm, momentum. That seems to be behind Santorum. Romney, though, has the math. How does he get over back to the excitement, enthusiasm side? What does he have to do?
Well, I think he can do that. I mean, I've seen Mitt Romney inspire crowds. He gets people excited about it. But Rick Santorum has a storyline going that says that he's the only one that touches the heart and soul of the Republicans. He basically has no campaign. I mean, that's what people need. Republicans need to understand this. There really isn't a Santorum campaign. There's a candidate running from state to state trying to make this emotional appeal. And it's working with some people. It certainly will not beat President Obama in the fall. But, you know, I think Romney has shown himself capable of inspiring the folks, and he can do that going forward.
Does he have to do anything different, or just what he's been doing in terms of that inspirational message?
I don't think that it would make sense for him to try to reinvent himself. He's built a strong case as the candidate who can fix our desperately broken economy. And the polling that we've seen now out the last week or so shows that this happy talk coming out of the Obama campaign for the last month or so was really an aberration. And what we've known for the last year or more is true, and that is the American people are frustrated and unhappy with their economy. They want somebody that can fix it. And Mitt Romney's been building that case for himself for a couple of years now. He shouldn't deviate from that.
If it's a numbers game, do you foresee it going months for Mitt Romney? Is this a long slog ahead for him?
I think that we probably go into late May, maybe June. We may go through all of the primaries, as Hillary Clinton and Senator Obama did 4 years ago. Clearly, it'd be nice if we could lock this thing up earlier than that. But the point I make is there's a very big difference between saying, okay, we're going to go through the primaries and then have a nominee, and saying we're going to go through the primaries and then not have a nominee until we go 2 months later through the convention in Florida. That would be a real problem.
Republicans who keep that in mind, the chaos of a convention, should they also keep in mind what a long convention, what a long nominating process would do in terms of hurting the frontrunner, hurting the image of the party? Do you think there's any risk of that?
You know, I have no doubt that when this is all over, we'll be able to get the party united again. Newt Gingrich has said very positive things about that from his standpoint, and his rivalry with Romney has been fairly intense, so for him to say it matters. But there's some things that only time can cure, and you know, you need a period of time to unite the party. You need that period after the primaries are over, June, July, early August, to heal the wounds, bring the party together, establish some unity, and then use your convention as a platform to launch the campaign against the other party. You don't need to start out uniting the party after the delegates have all gone home and you don't have that communication opportunity.
One of the ways to do that healing is to speak to the Santorum voters. What do you think Santorum is saying to those voters that's made him popular in some of these contests?
Well, I think that he's saying he's the outsider. And in this environment we've seen for a few years, that's very popular to be the outsider. There's not really a big issues difference between Rick Santorum and Mitt Romney, or among the three candidates. They basically are conservative candidates who contrast very strongly with Barack Obama on spending, taxes, regulation, energy policy, and social issues, and that's fairly clear. But Rick has managed to portray himself as the outsider, meaning the guy who doesn't run a real campaign, and that somehow appeals to some people, but it won't win us the White House.
Newt Gingrich also has tried to portray himself as an outsider, maybe even a harder job. Do you think he should get out of the race?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, people have to decide when they want to get out. The thing I'd argue with my friend Newt about is his explicit statement that he wants this to go to a convention. I understand why he thinks that. He is an historian. That would be an historic event, probably a historic disaster for the Republican Party, but an historic event. But it's not a good one.
You know him. Do you think he will get out even if he continues to have these non-wins?
I think you got to give him a little time to think about it. I mean, I really mean he thinks about these things historically, and I'm sure in his own mind he's thought through more about what a convention would mean than most people have. But when he reflects on it, I think he's going to understand it has deeply negative implications for our ability to beat Obama. At that point, there's a chance that he might get out. I'm not predicting it, not calling for it, but he does. His whole legacy as a political leader, and it's a great legacy, is as somebody who has brought the Republican Party great success and great victory, taking out over the House of Representatives for the first time in 40 years. He does not want to tarnish that by being the guy that costs us the White House.
Last question about that race for the White House. Mitt Romney against Barack Obama. One of the problems that Mitt Romney's had in the exit polls, it shows that when you ask people who cares about people like us, who feels the economic pain we're going through, Mitt Romney gets low numbers on that question. How does he improve that?
Well, I think that he improves, excuse me, I think that Romney's argument on the economy is not necessarily that he feels your pain more than somebody else. It's that he's the guy that can fix it. I mean, we've all felt the pain for the last several years, and we're afraid we're going to have to feel it for several years more. I don't want just somebody, I don't think most Americans want somebody who can simply say, yes, I'm going to commiserate you while we continue with this miserable economy for another 4 years. They want somebody that can fix the economy, and Romney's got the best argument to do that.
Okay, Vin Weber, thanks very much. That's it for Face to Face. I'm John Dickerson. Join Bob Schieffer this Sunday on Face the Nation.